Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hutchinson City Council meeting for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. We'll call the meeting to order. Approve the council agenda. Any agenda additions or corrections?
Mayor and Council, I have one addition for you. I sent that out in advance of the meeting, but it's items for the 2026 street improvement projects. We could add that under new business. There's obviously not a number under new business, so but we'll just put it under new business for consideration by the council.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Tim to approve the council agenda with the addition. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Will say nay. Motion carries. Invocation from Cross Point Church.
I don't see anything
Right.
here.
We'll just have a moment of silence, please. Next is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognitions of gifts, donations, and community service to the city. Does anybody have anything tonight? All right, we have a couple resolutions underneath there. We have resolution number 15990, resolution accepting donations from the Hutchinson's Lions Club for a gala ball pit at Lions West Park. Resolution number 15993, resolution accepting donations from the VFW Post 906 for youth tackle football equipment.
Motion to pass both 15990 and 15993.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Dave to approve both resolutions. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Will say nay. Motion carries. Citizens addressing the council, just please come forward and state your name and address for the record. All right, we have approval of minutes. We have the regular meeting minutes of February 10th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Dave to approve those minutes. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Will say nay. Motion carries. Consent agenda, this will be done with one motion unless somebody pulls something off for discussion. Approval of resolution number 15991, resolution transferring funds to the 2025 general fund, construction fund, general fund, and capital project fund. B is resolution number 15992, resolution transferring from the capital project EDA and economic development loan fund to the equipment replacement and energy loan fund. C is approval of resolution number 15994, resolution adopting finding of facts and reason for approval of site plan review and preliminary plat for North Maple Apartments located at 135 North High Drive Southeast with favorable planning commission recommendation. D is approval of design municipal state aid roads. Resolution number 15995, resolution establishing municipal state aid street industrial boulevard southeast. Resolution number 15996, resolution establishing municipal state aid street Hackbar Street southeast. Resolution number 15997, resolution establishing municipal state aid street, Oakland Avenue Southeast. E is approval of item for Clementon Avenue Southeast, letting number 1, project number 26-01. Two resolutions underneath there. We have resolution number 16000, resolution declaring costs to be assessed and ordering preparation of proposed assessments. And resolution number 16001, resolution for hearing on proposed assessments. F is approval of issuing short-term gambling license to the Crow River Cutters on March 28, 2026 at Elks Lodge. G is consideration for approval of issuing short-term gambling license to the Little Crow Archery Club on April 11th and 12th, 2026 at the McLeod County Fairgrounds. H is appointing Bruce Nostal to the HRA board to August of 2027. I is approval of purchasing 2026 John Deere 4066R utility tractor for the Parks and Recreation Department. J is approval of repair for wheel loader. K is approval of asphalt repairs. And L is claims appropriations and contract payments, register A. Anything anybody wants pulled off?
I have a question, if I may. If
We should-
I asked for,
Do you just want to pull A off?
no, not A, I'm sorry. C,
Okay.
but my question being, and I'm
Well,
not,
we'll,
motion has to flow off. What I ask is if I pull that off of there, does a concerned citizen can he speak at that?
That's up to the mayor. So the public hearing was held at the planning commission meeting, so it'd be up to the mayor and whether or not he wanted to allow that, so.
yeah, it did go through public, or with the planning commission and stuff too, so they did have public hearings on it.
He did. Okay,
So,
then I'm gonna pull it then.
all right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Pat to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Motion carries. We have consent agenda 2, claims appropriations and contract payments, register B. My son has a check on there for his company, so I will abstain from the vote.
Motion to approve consent agenda 2.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Dave, with me abstaining. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Motion carries. We have public hearing, Franklin Site Improvement Project Phase 2, letting number 4, project number 26-04. We have 2 resolutions underneath there. We have resolution number 15998, resolution ordering improvements and preparations of plan and specifications. B is resolution number 15999, resolution approving plans and specification and ordering advertisements for bids.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I've got just a couple of slides. Brandon was on vacation this week, and so he would be here presenting. I'm standing in for him this evening. Just want to give you a quick overview of this project. So this is phase 2. Last year in the fall, we had done the sewer realignment, which kind of bisected the project right through here. That work was completed, and so this next phase of the project basically addresses everything in green. As you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, that is the work that's proposed as part of this project. So you'll see a few things both in the street itself where we're getting rid of that old boat landing area, adding curb gutter, and if you've been down that area recently, you can see where storm sewers kind of emerged out of the pavement. This cleans all of that up. The biggest part of the project, though, of course, is the construction of the stormwater pond. So we waited to do the project here until spring so that they really had a place to put a lot of their material and soils. And so we'll clear that, they'll redistribute that on the site itself, and then the plan is to get that pond constructed here this spring, early summer. And then a little bit of sidewalk work and concrete work. The sidewalk to the far right here, it is possible we're going to hold off on that. We have some discussion and consideration for some work down on this street portion here, and we may pull this in anticipation for that, and then a future trail that would connect both Girl Scout Park to Cedar Park. So to be determined on this part, right now it's a part of the project, but we might pull this out with just this portion here getting done. We have updated the cost estimate. We had previously shown a little over $400,000. The engineer's estimate at this point is about $318,000. And again, we anticipate using mostly stormwater funds. With the two projects, though, that we potentially are moving forward with tonight on lettings 1 and 2, there is some additional bonding dollars available. So Andy is taking a look at the potential to use some of that to offset some of the stormwater impact. So there are some street improvement portions that might be eligible. So the funding here could change a little bit more, and we'll update that at the assessment hearing later. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Mike, I thought that sidewalk was supposed to go along the south side of that building too.
It is. That's a great question, Dave, and I'll point that out. This portion here is getting done by the project itself, by the contractor. So the city portion is this and this. This was on the project itself by the developer. So it's a good catch. Our own team was like, I thought it is getting done, but it's getting done by different portion of the project. So.
Very good.
So will you include the sidewalk, the right side? You said it might be pushed back?
Pushed back and only to integrate a little bit better with the work that we do in here.
Okay, but that will still be included in your
Still be included,
request?
yeah. Eventually it'll be there. The hope is next year we'll hopefully be coming in. If we're to make any change here, that'd probably be a next year, along with, we'd like to let the site settle a little bit and then come in next year with that trail connection. Then we would likely finish this, if not before that. So no later than 2027.
Okay, just making sure it was part of this bid.
Yeah.
Or it didn't have to jump to another bid.
Yeah, it's potential it would jump to a different bid, Tim, but more so we tie it to other work getting done like it on these, on the other portion of the project.
So Mike, would it be a bid alternate?
Could be a bid
Could be.
alternate, but it'd likely be, if it didn't get done as part of this one, we'd do it as just part of an overall project on the next one. So it should still get good value at that point.
Council have any other questions for Hank? All right, we'll open up for public comment.
This is a portion of the hearing where anybody has any questions or comments regarding the proposed public improvement. We'd ask that they come forward, state their name and address for the record.
Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Tim to close the public hearing. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve both resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Dave to approve both resolutions. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. It carries. Well, Jace, you're up there already. You're ready
You're
to go.
stuck with me, and
We have the Public Works year-end report.
Correct, yeah. Again, thank you, Mayor and Council. We switched spots with Dan Jokum. Dan will take our slot in March. So we're moved up here, and I have Donovan here tonight just to keep me in check, to make sure I don't misspeak on anything. So he'll chime in or roll his eyes if I say anything maybe that I shouldn't have.
Dave,
So.
I know how much Donovan likes speaking in front, so.
He'll just chime in as
Did you
needed.
flip a
So,
coin?
yeah.
I'm not used to seeing him without a hat on, so this is the weirdest part here, so.
So, first, appreciate the time. Again, you'll note, in your packet was our full report. I'm just going to give a few snippets of that rather than go through the actual report. You can read that at your leisure. That's got a little bit more detail. I'll kind of pull out the high points and some summary elements tonight. So I have just a few slides to go over with you. So again, staff from Donovan in particular, who represents a broader area within our streets department, Brandon on engineering, and then both Eric and Bruce, water and wastewater, contributed to the report. Again, just a quick review of our overall services that we provide, from both essential to critical, basic, our target, our special services itself. A number of things, that we consider very important to the overall operation. This generally represents our whole staff. We captured this last year during the Public Works Awareness Week in May. But roughly 30 staff members that we have that represent our various areas of public works and utilities. By the numbers, I included this slide last year, and very kind of good to cover our overall area that we have. Again, in a plowing event, about 225 miles, and sometimes that's a up, down, and back again. So there may be even a 3-pass operation, but typically an up and down finishes most of our streets in that regard. Number of events this year, last couple of years, we've had some pretty light winters. This year's been a few different blowing events, so we've seen a few of our 4-inch snowfalls, including last week's somewhat surprise event. The tree element, this should be relatively recent, although I did ask Donovan before the meeting, we have about 500 ash trees still in our boulevard, so maybe even a little bit less than. So really gained on that. That's down in a very manageable number at this point with, as we report throughout the year, a pretty healthy number still in maintaining that if we were to have to take them down even quicker. But we've got a good active plan for maintaining that as we go. And then a number of other points here that talk to both our water, wastewater, and stormwater itself. One of the ones that stand out to me is just the amount of water that we've produced in that plant in the almost 20 years now that the plant's been in existence. And then just the amount of dissolved solids that we get rid of. And again, that material, dissolved solids, goes to our wastewater plant, typically in the form of sulfates. That is probably the number one thing that the plant in the RO process sends to our wastewater plant in that regard. So it kind of stays within our overall system, but transfers from water to wastewater in that regard. Our 2025 expenses mirror very closely 2024. The real difference probably was more right on our CIP, and it was associated with our biosolids project kicking off. That was about $3 million higher this year, $3.5 million higher, and generally you would point right back to our biosolids project that kicked off in 2025. Everything else, almost across the board, doing some quick math, was about a 3% increase, with some holding pretty steady. Our capital, again, tied to our water, wastewater plants, debt payments, for instance, depreciation generally held very solid. Wages increased about 3%, as you might expect, and then saw that generally across kind of our services and charges and supplies, but very close overall. But again, $27 million, and it was $24 million in 2024. So generally, as I said, associated more with our increase in our CIP and projects done there.
Say, Mike, can you back up one
Yeah.
slide? One more?
Oh, one more? Sure.
One more? Yeah, on the way bottom, the 48.8 tons of biosolids, then you said some of it goes to the
Landfill?
landfill?
Mm-hmm.
What, this due to, field conditions.
Field
right?
conditions is what drives that, yeah, and we're again entering a time of the year now where, we'll have staff that'll even come in the middle of the night just to get frozen ground versus again melting during the middle of the day itself. We did just get a load out last week, kind of in between, the snow and then a little bit the cold. Actually cold is probably our friend right now. The next couple weeks could be a challenge. So we do the best we can manage that, because it's about 8,000, a time when we have to empty a tank to take that to the landfill. So if we can avoid doing that, that is the goal, just from a budget standpoint.
And Gary, since you highlighted this, I would note, and I think I've shared this once before, if not previous times, that's something that's actually under scrutiny from the state, where they've talked about prohibiting cities from land applying.
Land applying.
And so that's just something that we keep an eye on. That would obviously be another expense to the city if we would have to all of a sudden take all of that to the landfill.
So I'm sure it's
Yeah.
not cheap going to landfill, is it?
No, it's not, and kind of the added element of that is if suddenly we couldn't land apply it, it probably right now it goes to Spruce Ridge at Biskie. If it got to be where we weren't allowed to land apply it, it probably also wouldn't be able to go to Spruce Ridge. It would go to like Monticello or something like that, so our trucking costs would go through the roof in that case. So that would be a real game changer in terms of our wastewater fund. Right now, though, we're in Tier 3. Tier 4 is where we would be more challenged on, and the goal is to really get to Tier 2. So we're managing it well at this point, but we are continuing to monitor throughout the community itself. Talked about budget. Utility rates, I always want to point this one out. Again, in the report is a breakdown by utility, our stormwater, water, and wastewater, but this is our aggregate number. Again, you'll see we track really well. Water and wastewater are well below average. Stormwater is about at average. We're still just a little bit below average. But we've been a little bit more aggressive, as you know, over the last few years. This year, last 2 years now, an 8% increase on stormwater. Water and wastewater have held steady, largely because of our sales tax. Again, a reminder, this is really the last major year of that. We have a little bit in 2027, and then that expires. And so we are looking at, and we'll likely even do an assessment this year within water and wastewater to see if an increase is needed. So more discussion on that, but as of right now, we're still tracking very, very well across, at least in comparison to our sister cities in Minnesota itself. Some highlights of 2025 that I like to point out: staffing. Been lucky in particular. We've had a few final backfill positions within Public Works. We've seen some very strong candidate pools. On that, we'll have our last staff member start there on Monday. This was from a retirement from the fall itself, so we'll be full across the board. Street projects, we again had a little bit of a challenging year with our spring rains, but we finished those on time. Got Dale Street done just before the start of the school year, and then actually received an award, as you remember from a few months ago when we presented that. Our service line inventory, we continue to update that, and we'll continue to do that over the next few years. But our water meter project finished up. That was almost 4,200 water meters throughout the community. And then we do have, and I'll point that out in 2026, the commercial or industrial side of that getting done this year. Wastewater, our BNR, our biological nutrient reduction program, which basically allows us to manage our phosphorus, is well underway, and our biosolids project kicked off, and we're hoping to see that wrap up here in 2026. The Somerset Pond, this is again that area out by Elk Ridge Estates, the new development out there. Thought it would make sense before that thing filled up to get those ponds cleaned out, as they hadn't been done since their original construction, and just wrap that up. We have a little restoration work to do here this spring, and then that will be done. Of course, we wrapped up our South Side Resiliency Study, and we have a couple of projects coming forth in the next year or two that are informed from it. Our cemetery, we did a road resurfacing project and did a good portion of work out there on it. Our airport, making the most out of an unfortunate situation with that June storm damage. We just finished refinishing that hangar, and then Donovan and McCoy in particular have been very instrumental in securing almost $1 million in additional funds that will take care of a number of other projects out at the airport. And then equipment, again, thank you and appreciate the support for it. The Toolcat and the track skid loader are, I think the Toolcat is here, the track skid loader is on its way if it didn't arrive this week also. Yeah, it just showed up also. And then a couple of pickups, or a one-ton truck that will also be coming. And then also want to point out staff involvement. We have a number of staff involved in the Tiger Path program. Over at the high school with their mentoring program, working with Andrea. And then McLeod for tomorrow, we have participants again this year. And then Brandon and a few other city staff are taking part again in the chamber leadership program. 2026, I alluded to a couple of these. Again, the Edmonton project, thank you for the support of that. Move that forward tonight. We're hoping to, in the new business item, to move our pavement improvement projects forward also. We've got very favorable bids on both of those. Have one contractor that will probably represent both. We're expecting a really good season, and hopefully if we get some weather to cooperate, should be a really good year for those projects. Development-wise, as you know, and not to steal any of Dan's thunder, but got some really good projects underway. Excited about the North Maple Apartments on the Old Burns Manor site, some other growth, but the landing project, getting that wrapped up as we've talked about tonight, and then officially accepting the infrastructure for Elk Ridge Estates. Water, phase 2 of a water study. We can anticipate at least one more phase of that. We have a bulk fill and dump station project that we're examining. The dump station, of course, would replace that one that's at BMF, and then a bulk fill that would replace the one that's in South Park. Both have served their purpose, but we're trying to consolidate them and likely including them down at a location near Hats. And then various other plant improvements that we continue to look at in that regard. Wastewater also, or biosolids, the relicensing application that we're going to be working on submitting and hopefully working under and accepting new standards there. And then stormwater, our Lakes and Rivers project. We're hoping in a couple of weeks to be back here in closed session to have a couple of offers, tentative offers for your review and hopefully acceptance. And then our Michigan Street Pond. This again, it was the Holtz property that we purchased last year. We've got a design underway, hoping to include that as next year's project when we do Clifton Heights. Cemetery, again, some staff transition there with Pete Dane's retirement back in the fall. And then we've got a little bit of a retaining wall right out in front of the building that we're going to be working to repair this year. And then again, the airport, a number of projects out there with also the potential for an FBO. As you know, we've been without an FBO out there for over the last now almost 2 years. And we've got someone interested in filling that role for us. So kind of working out, and we'll have a contract here for Mark's review, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and potential to fill that role. And then that $3.7 million state appropriation for Camp Craig, that hopefully will build the training center portion of that project. We're hoping to get that underway this year. So working with the state on that right now. And then staffing, maintain is the focus. So hoping to have a pretty quiet year on that front this year and focus on a number of other things. And then a couple of really good studies underway itself. The School Road Corridor, we've kicked off already with a city staff meeting. We've got a school district meeting soon, and then we'll have a resident interaction meeting here probably over the summer itself, late summer. And then our Safe Routes to School project should be wrapping up. You'll see a review of that soon. And that is it. Happy to take any questions or comments you might have.
Any comments for Mike?
I have a quick one for Mike.
Yeah.
And this is going back a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. We talked about the alleys and kind of the downtown area, the alleys and the parking lots.
Yes.
And you were talking about putting that into some kind of capital plan or reviewing that. How have we moved forward with that? And
Very good. You know, I did not include it as another study, but we're right now just discussing kind of the concept of a study to look at a couple things. Parking, accessibility, sidewalk condition in our downtown area. So this would be kind of a corollary to our downtown plan that Miles and Dan work very closely on, hoping to work with HKGI as well as SEH. But yeah, trying to take kind of a competing needs. And if you remember that little potential street project I mentioned by the landing, kind of fold that whole thing in to take a look at. So the Jorgensen coming down, future parking there, some pressure. So kind of taking a look at all of that, the accessibility and the small businesses downtown, and kind of rolling all that up in one project, hopefully this summer. So yeah, so that is in discussion right now. We're hoping to have something kicked off here late spring.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for asking about that.
Anything else for Mike? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, no unfinished business under new business, 2026 street improvement projects.
So this is very similar, an action very similar to the letting one that you had under the consent agenda. The reason we had pulled this, and I apologize to Melissa, because we had it in and we took it out and we weren't sure if we are going to have it in or not. We had a little bit of an issue with the bid opening on Thursday afternoon. So we were opening it a day later, so it was kind of right up against our deadline, actually a day later. And we had a little bit of kind of a question, concern on how it would resolve itself in terms of our bids. So we got that resolved, met with Matt and Mark on Friday, put forth a plan for, and feel like, again, we have W.M. Mueller, who is our low bid. We had a really good bid environment and so our plan is to go forth with the bidders that you see before you. And then hopefully conduct the assessment hearing on track on March 24th along with letting one. So action-wise, very similar to what you approved tonight with letting one, but had a little bit of delay just given the bidding question on Thursday afternoon.
Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, do we have 14 bidders for the two projects?
For the two projects, yeah.
Is-
Yeah, 7 for each.
That's a
So
great
really
bid.
good bid environment. And our estimate, again, credit to Corey and Chad, we're kind of right in the middle of the pack. Probably day one, they were on the lower end of, it was a little bit tighter range. Smaller project though, also just under $1 million. But they're right in a very good spot, day two, right in the middle. So about 330,000 below our overall estimate. So it leaves us a little cushion to do a few other things this year.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chad, second by Tim to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
We have planning commission minutes from November 18th, 2025, and the city of Hutchinson financial reports and investment reports for January of 2026. Chief Gifferson, you got anything for us tonight? Donovan, you got anything for us?
I think Mike covered everything.
And more.
Mike, you got anything else?
I'm good, thank you.
Say, I had a couple people talking about the potholes and stuff.
Well, yeah, all that happens.
Okay. And before Donovan, just give me a second here. Before we get going, remember, we have streets and highways that go through our city that are not our responsibility. North 15 is the state's responsibility. I just wanted to get that out there.
So we did go all around the cold mix, that week it was more, about 2 weeks ago now. Once this all melts away, we'll do another reevaluation. Without the money around the cold mix. It's just kind of hard for the course this time of year. Almost every time you get a decent sized event, you're gonna get more cold running off. And then as soon as their road surfaces are clear, we'll go through, we'll recon it and be able to put out another cold.
And again, to the general public, just give the city center a call and, you know, we can get somebody out there to address it. So,
Especially if they're extreme, the cold mix allows us to respond.
And obviously weather has
yeah,
is a big dependent too. If it's middle of a 4-inch snowfall, unfortunately we're able to patch it, so.
well, we'll
Snow.
get back to snow
Yeah.
in there, yeah.
Yeah, a call and email, the report of concern on the website, all are effective. Donovan and I get CC'd on any of them that come that way. Not very helpful.
All right, thanks, guys. Mark, you got anything for us?
Anything else tonight?
Matt, you got anything for us?
Nothing at all. Only thing I would note is March 5th, we're having a kickoff meeting on the city center. So if a council member would like to sit in on that, just let me know. That's a Thursday morning. So I'll send an email on that too, but otherwise that's it for me, so.
Alrighty. Chad, let's start with you tonight.
This morning we had an EDA meeting. The landing project is coming right along. They're on their 4th level, and the hotel project is also going okay. They just wrapped up asbestos removal today, and they should start demo by the end of the month. But that's all I had.
Alright, thanks. Timmy,
Well, so the library did receive a Carnegie grant, and you can read about that in the Hutchinson station, and they also have it on their site. And moving forward, they'll be deciding what to do with the funds for that and make our library even a better place to be. I know this community is very strong in volunteerism. There's a lot of organizations looking for help this summer with their volunteers, and so reach out. I know we're always doing events in town talking about volunteerism, who you can volunteer with. Take an opportunity to get out of the house and go meet some people in our community and do great things to make our community better and safer tomorrow. Last thing is, I found out right before the meeting that I became a grandfather again, so welcome Haven to Hutchinson.
No.
So,
you don't look that old.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
This is number 7. That's the most part.
Thanks, Timmy. Dave,
We had subcommittee of the MMDC talk about transit for the elderly, and they call elderly 65 and above. Yeah, it confused me. Yes, exactly. So there was some funding that was being talked about, and their government, both state and feds, are pulling their horns back in a little bit. So instead of giving us money that we can work with to accomplish transportation for these people, they decided that they'll just restrict it. So they restricted it to handicapped people and not only old people. I should say elderly people, not old. So that was we're battling through that. Let's see, I had one more thing on my mind, and that went away like the wind. Oh, I was going to talk about the Inspired Rides. I know Tim drives for ACC, but Inspired Rides is Parents Inspired, and they have apparently acquired a second handicap van. So they are looking for more volunteer drivers, and they're getting requests from further away from the center of Hutchinson, but out like in Hector to come to Hutchinson and that type of thing. And they already have taken some rides to the city's hospitals, and right now I think they have had 400 rides they have given so far since they opened up with that. So that's just good news for Inspired Rides, and I think it's good news for the city also. Yeah.
Pat.
I was with Chad at the EDA meeting, and he kind of covered what I was going to say, so I don't know.
Well, we didn't have a resource allocation meeting this month, so me and Chad got out of one meeting. Got HRA, as you guys noted, we had a new member put on, so we're fully staffed now. So there again, if you have, you always can check with the HRA to see if you qualify for fix-up funds. So just have to come down and get a hold of John Olson. He can help you out with that. As Mike mentioned before, FBO, that's field-based operator out at the airport, and looks pretty good that we're going to get one finally after 2 years of not having one. And he talked about the grants that we got, and that actually going to help out quite a bit out there. We get a new card reader, snow removal equipment building. The FAA is going to require us, we used to be able to move one of the snow removal pieces of equipment back and forth, but the FAA is kind of putting the thumb down that we got to have one face right out in the airport. So with that, we're getting a building out there for that. We have, as Mike said, improvement to the hangars. We're gonna use money for that too, for LED lamp lighting, some crack repair on the runway and taxi lane improvement. So that was our kind of a big meeting for the a lot of improvements going on out there, so. But besides that, that's all I had.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Pat, second by Chad to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, say nay. Motion carries. Thanks, guys.